everybody. So I started this card off with the Paper Smooches A Little Lovin' stamp set, and I chose the little mommy and baby elephant stamp, and I inked it up with Memento Tuxedo Black ink, and then I'm stamping it onto CC Designs white cardstock. And my plan for this card was to paper piece the elephants, so I'm using some pattern paper from the Authentic Loyal 6x6 pack, and stamped it onto the lighter blue paper, and then stamped it onto one of the darker blue pattern papers. And then I'm just going to trim out the little images with my detail cutting scissors. So once I did that, I didn't really like how the little elephant, like the pattern, it was just way too busy. You couldn't really see the detail. So I'd flip the paper over and cut out just the darker blue elephant and like that way better. It just worked better and it wasn't so busy. So before I decided to adhere the elephants, I thought I'd do a little bit of shading around them. So I'm just using some Copic markers. And I just used like my W1 marker and just went all around the images. And then ended up going around it again just to deepen it just a little bit more. Just again to kind of ground it and give it just a little definition. So once that was done, I blend that out with my W00. Just small circular motions, kind of blending out. My plan is to kind of just like fade it to white. So I blend that out with a W00, and then I took my 0, which is the colorless blender, and I'm going to blend it even more so that it fades right out to white. So super simple, easy to do. And then I'm going to paper piece these little elephants. So I'm just using my Tombow Mono Multi liquid glue and adhere the mommy elephant first. So get that into place, press it all down, and then I'm going to do the little baby. And you can see when I cut out the pattern paper, I purposely left out the little tusk so that that part remains white. So super simple. Cut that into place, and then I want to add just a little bit more definition. So again, it's not just floating there. So I'm using my W3 Copic marker. I'm just adding a little bit of shading and some definition. Again, super simple. These images, like they're drawn so nicely that you don't have to add a whole lot to them. So once I've got that, I just want to blend that a teeny little bit. So I just took my W00 and just lightly kind of dabbed it around the W3 just to soften it a little bit. And then I'm just going to use my Spellbinders, one of my Spellbinder circle dies, and just tape it in place with a piece of tape so it doesn't shift when I run it through my Big Shot. So run that through, and then I cut a couple of scallop circles from cardstock to frame the little main image. And then my pattern paper, again, is from the Authentic Loyal collection. I'm going to make a 5.5-inch square card for this. So I kind of already fiddled around with my layout to get it the way I wanted it. And just used a variety of pattern papers from the pack. And then I'm inking up the sentiment from the A Little Lovin' set with Brilliance Graphite Black ink. So just kind of fiddling with where I'm putting the main image before I put the sentiment on there. So stamp the welcome baby. And then I'm customizing this because I had actually made this for my newest little nephew when he was born. So I super sped up this next part, but I used the Paper Smooches Alpha Dot stamp set and stamped his first and middle name onto the pattern paper strip. So this part took a little while. It's kind of messy with these little stamps and the pigment ink, but it's worth it for the results. So once I've got that, I heat set it, and then I trimmed down the strip a little bit, and then I trimmed it down again because I didn't like it. It was too big for the cards, so I trimmed it down even more, and like how that went. So then that way, this card is customized just for him. So adhere that in place, and then I wanted to add some ribbon, and I had some old Stampin' Up! Ribbon in my stash. This was the old Kiwi Kiss ribbon from however many years ago. It was the perfect shade of green to go with this paper, and with the stripes it's just worked for a little boy card. So wrap that around the card front, tied it in a bow, fiddled with it a bit till I got it the way I wanted it to be, and then just trimmed off the ends. So just a bit of fiddling. This is kind of thicker ribbon, so it takes a little while to get it the way I want it. And then yeah, I trimmed off the ends, adjusted it a bit, and then for the main image I used dimensionals to pop it up. Normally I'd use the big dimensionals, but when I had made this card I'd completely run out and I was waiting on my order to arrive. So put on a bunch of dimensionals, fiddle with the ribbon a little bit more, and then get the main image popped up where I want it to be. So once I've got that in place, I want to add some brads. So I just took my Stampin' Up! Matte Pack and the piercing template, and just use my scissors to pierce the 4 holes for the brads. And I just dug through just my jars of brads and found some colors that match the pattern paper, and just did them in kind of a random, couple big ones, couple small ones in the same colors as the pattern paper, just to give it a little something extra. So get those pressed through, flip them over, and then I'm just using my AmyR Memory Keepers brad setting tool to set them. Get them all nice and flattened, and then as always using some Scotch tape on the back of the ribbon and the brads so that my ATG adhesive just glides over it and doesn't get caught, because it always gets caught on ribbon just because of the texture of it, so it's just easier to tape the backs. So get the adhesive on, and I'm going to adhere that to the card, which is navy cardstock, again a 5.5-inch square card, quite a big one. I like making a square card for baby cards. I like the look of it. So I grabbed some more pattern paper for the inside. I already had kind of a similar layout picked out for the inside, keeping it kind of simple. Just some pattern papers, and then I die cut a large white circle and then a light blue scallop circle for the inside for a place for us to write a message, and that's all there was to it. So I'm going to adhere that to the inside of the card, and right at the end I run out of adhesive in my ATG. And since I was in a hurry, rather than refilling the ATG, I just used a little bit of Tombow on that corner, and it was perfect. So as always, thank you guys so much for watching. There will be a link to my blog post with links to all the supplies used directly below the video, and I will see you all next time. Bye!